Hello, F1 Universe, and welcome to the Formula One Paddock Pass podcast. My name is F1 Carlo, and with me I have the two co-hosts, F1 Hannah and F1 Luke Sam. We are three unique individuals who share love for the same sport, Formula One. Today, we will recap the surprisingly good Barcelona Grand Prix and see how our predictions planned out. Then, we will discuss the ICKS within the F1 world. And finally, come with us as we visit the streets of Monte-Carlo. We'll give our own thoughts as well as our overall predictions. So without further ado, get your passes out and let's enter the paddock.
Paddock pass accepted. Please enjoy this episode.
So guys, the Spanish Grand Prix, surprisingly good. What were your opinions about the whole weekend?
Honestly, the Spanish Grand Prix was so good. I enjoyed watching the race so much, which I did not expect to do. I feel like everyone has low expectations for Spain, but my expectations were low and I was not disappointed. It was so good. I mean, towards the end of the race, or the second half of the race was maybe slightly boring, but it didn't matter because the first half of the race was so good. With like the DNFs and the people spinning out, I feel like when people spin out like Max, not spin out, but just go into the gravel like Max and Leclerc, it makes it more interesting because they didn't DNF, which would be disappointing, but they're still like put down a few positions.
To make up the time.
They're forced to fight back, exactly. And that was really fun to watch. And it made an extremely good battle between George and Max, which was so good to watch. I watched it out in public and there was loads of F1 fans around me and everyone was like cheering, not necessarily for one person or another, but just for the battle itself, and it was just really, really good to watch. I was really nervous because, you know, a Merc and a Red Bull battling in the past haven't typically ended well, but it was good. It was really good. And I loved the Grand Prix. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It was after Max pitted and caught up to George Russell when I was kind of like, alright, like, the excitement's over. Like, we kind of know the result. Yeah. I was a little bit disappointed at Red Bull for... I think it was a little bit unfair, the team orders. But in the same breath, it was always going to happen. And Perez is the second driver. He should know that. So as unfair as it was, I do think it was the right choice.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
But before the race, I posted on my Instagram story and I said, I'm about to fall asleep. I was like, I'm not going to stay up for this Grand Prix. And it banged at the start and it got me excited and it kept me going throughout the whole thing. It was good.
Yeah, that's what you'd want. You want it to bang at the start and then near the end it drop off. Otherwise you'll be asleep at the start and then then you wake up to find like crazy stuff has happened at the end.
I feel like that was kind of like Abu Dhabi last year. It's like the start of the race was a bit mediocre. The last part of the race was probably one of the most crazy things that's ever happened in F1. But like imagine watching that, being like a bit tired, like nodding off, waking up, and it's like Verstappen win.
I couldn't imagine. To me, the Spanish Grand Prix is another reason why the regulations are working.
100%.
I thought this would be a good judgment week, and it's working. Let's be real. They're following closer. There's wheel-to-wheel battles. Like, you know, sometimes a driver doesn't even need DRS to complete an overtake.
It's true.
Yeah.
Because in past years, like when you would watch like the Spanish Grand Prix, going into like that final chicane, there'll be a driver close, but then going onto the pit straight, because he like his aero would be like gone, he wouldn't be able to stay close. But this year, like you could see, like even every single lap, a driver would only be like 4 tenths, 5 tenths behind. It's like the regulations were perfect. It was like the perfect test as well, and DRS was like the perfect amount. Because you see in like Saudi Arabia, maybe DRS was too overpowered. Like Spain was just, I can't lie, it was the chef's kiss. I have to give it to the Spanish Grand Prix. It was the 10-10, I'll be honest, it was the 10-10. Even though the Ferrari boys were terrible, it was a 10-10.
And it makes me think of like, obviously we'll speak about Monaco later, but briefly, because of the new regulations, I mean, it showed a great Spanish Grand Prix. Is it going to improve Monaco? Like, I know part of the reason why overtaking is difficult in Monaco is because of how thin the track is and how, you know, hard it is to get around someone because of the barriers, except like obviously that's, you have to take that into consideration, but is it going to make overtaking slightly more easier in Monaco? Who knows? I guess we'll find out this weekend, but I'm excited to see if it makes much of a difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And touching on the DRS from Spain, the perfect DRS zone was into turn 1, and I wish it was like this at every track. I know it's hard to get right, but when they get into the braking zone, both drivers' nose are level.
Yeah.
That is almost the perfect DRS zone, and we saw that on the start-finish straight in Spain.
I was gonna say with the DRS, I saw a video this morning of Max just constantly punching his wheel. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I saw that as well.
haven't
Yeah,
seen
It's
it.
the funniest video. It's like halfway through the race, yeah, and you can tell he's so annoyed. He's literally punching his steering wheel, trying to get the DRS open. Because I must be thinking, like, imagine doing your hardest to be in a race, and then it's the DRS button that doesn't work. You must be fuming.
It's like the
And
most
he
simple
was.
part.
For real. For
And
real.
Yeah.
I noticed during the race, you know how it has the speed compared with the drivers that are battling? You know,
Yeah.
so you see their kilometres and miles go up, and you've got the
Yeah.
DRS that lights up when they hit DRS. George is in front, so his is staying unlit. But Max's is like a strobe light. It was so funny. It's like on off, on off, on off, on off, on off.
Because you would see him like go past like the start finish line, and then it would come out, it would open, then it would close straight away. It'd be like, so unlucky, so unlucky.
And not gonna lie, I don't know about you guys, I loved seeing Max angry, and that's not because I don't care for him too much. I loved the way he expresses himself on the radio.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so amusing. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
to be honest, it kind of brings out a faster Max, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you see him like, you can just imagine him like, his eyes are more squinted, his eyebrows
Yeah.
are more down, he's foot to the floor, just trying to
Throwing his
pass
elbows
anyone.
out.
Yeah. Max is, when he's angry, it makes the sport better, because sometimes, like, everyone could say he's a bit too nice, but when you see the raw emotion of a driver, and that's how they actually are, it just shows that everyone's human, realistically. And then that's just how he is, so. Bro, when Max was getting angry, I was like, oh my days, Russell, be careful, mate. You got some crazy Dutch man behind you.
Yeah.
And if he gets DRS properly, he's going to send it into turn 1.
Yeah.
But when they did battle, fair and square. Fair and square, it was perfect.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we saw a George Russell do a Max Verstappen to Max Verstappen, and that was
Yeah.
coming out of turn 2, gently run him out of track,
Yeah,
but still leave half a car length,
yeah.
and it was the perfect battle.
It's true, it's true. It's because, like, he didn't even, like, push him. He just, like, slow but surely just pushed him up wide. Slowly.
And when there was
And
half
so-
a car length, he would pull back
Yeah.
into the middle of the track.
Then Max had nowhere to go, because otherwise, if he tried to, like, carry on going at his speed, he would go off the track. So it was just, it's good
Yeah.
to see that from Russell as well, because now people can say, oh, it's not just luck he's been in that position, because now when he's in that position, he's shown he has the ability to, like, drive with the big boys
Yeah.
like Verstappen, or when Hamilton gets faster. And to touch on Hamilton, if he didn't crash on lap 1, who knows, he could have won that GP.
Yeah.
He could have won it, yeah. Like you said last
Because
week,
he's-
Spain's
That's
his stomping
crazy.
ground.
Yeah, I knew it. I was, oh my days. If he didn't crash, I'm telling you now, I have a sneaky feeling we'll be talking about Hamilton right now winning the Grand Prix, because his
Yeah.
speed was,
I wish, honestly.
his speed was crazy. He was like 30 seconds behind, and then during the race,
Yeah.
I was thinking, surely he has to pit again. Surely he has to pit again. Then he did pit, and he still came out in like 7th, 8th place. I was like, wait a minute, this Hamilton guy.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was focusing on the front, and then Hamilton was just setting like purple laps. Because that was very good for him, and I
Yeah.
like that, because
Like,
Zara, I was gonna say I like it because now, like, he's got the motivation back. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because after the first lap, he was thinking,
Oh, that was
you saved the
heartbreaking.
engine. Yeah, and I was like, nah, Lewis, you always preach never give up and all of this. I was like, go for it now. But then after the race, he was saying, oh, like, I'm really happy. You could see he was smiling a lot. So I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Like 2 days before the Grand Prix weekend started, I made a video saying like, oh, Lewis has won the past like 5 races here. Like, are we gonna see it again, or are we gonna see a new winner? And part of me was like, well, obviously it's gonna be a new winner, but like, who's it gonna be? But then during the race, I was thinking like, if only he didn't, that would have been so crazy. Like, how is he gonna keep this streak when the Merc is like this?
Yeah.
It's true.
But obviously the crash, happened.
Who do we think was at fault? Do
Mm,
you think it was a fault?
Honestly,
I'd say more racing incident. Lap 1, there's always gonna be like drivers running so close to each other. So like, it's one of them ones where I understand it's just a racing incident. I wouldn't pin the blame on anyone in particular.
yeah, I suppose it's more a racing incident. But then, if I was to do like a percentage of blame,
Yeah.
I would say it was way more Magnussen's fault. I don't know, looking at the onboards and the replays, I saw Lewis's onboard and we saw Magnussen's onboard, and it just looked like Magnussen turned too acutely into Hamilton,
Yeah.
and I feel like he had loads of room on the side of the track that the cars weren't on. Like, I feel like he didn't need to do that. And from Hamilton's onboard, I might be wrong, but it looked like he just was right at the edge of the corner, like he couldn't go anywhere.
So Hamilton understeered a little bit, but I think most of the blame is on Magnussen. But it really grinded my gears when I heard him say Lewis did that on purpose, like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I was like, that crash
Did
is your
what on
fault.
purpose?
That crash is your fault.
like,
He must have just been angry in the moment.
in
Yeah.
the heat of the moment, he just said anything. But then you also have to think
Yeah.
about it. Drivers have to like straight away blame it on the other person. So that because Magnussen knew he could have like a 5-second penalty here, so he was like, "Oh, I saw Hamilton." So that like the FAI would hear him and be like, "Okay, we'll think about it. We'll think about it."
Rather than just
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
sorry, blame the other
Yeah, because
person.
if he says he's sorry, like straight away he would get a 5-second penalty, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because then he would also accept he was in the wrong.
Well, it's good to see Hamilton get his drive back. And it kind of did break my heart when I heard that team radio saying we should save the engine, because I think all of us collectively said, like, no, like, keep going.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
not Hamilton, Verstappen, the first thing he asked his race engineer after he finished the race, do you know what it was?
No.
Where did Hamilton finish?
Damn.
Is in Verstappen's head
really?
rent free. And I don't think that Verstappen only should be scared of Hamilton. He needs to be scared of George Russell as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because them Mercedes boys, they're on an attack. You can see them, they're on an attack.
Yeah. After Spain, after every race weekend, I put together a little fraud watch. So feel free to put in. First on my list, so this is going to be ranking them from biggest fraud to least, like, smallest fraud. But still frauds nonetheless.
Before you say, I have a feeling that we all have the same person in mind, but I might be wrong, so go for
I've
it.
got 2 people in mind as well, sorry. I've got 2 people.
Okay. We'll do our first one, the biggest fraud.
Yeah.
Biggest fraud for me, this pains me to say it, Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh yeah, he's a fraud as well. I've got 3 frauds.
Yeah.
I almost think...
I didn't even think of him.
I always think if he doesn't perform this week in Monaco, I would not be surprised if he doesn't get a drive next year.
Yeah.
Like we said,
Really?
Spain is Carlos Sainz's make or break week, in my opinion. Monaco's Daniel Ricciardo's. With a sick Lando Norris.
Yeah.
Lando Norris still did better than him in Spain. And he just didn't look dangerous. He looked like he was just there to make up the numbers.
Yeah,
So
it's sad
I
to
think
I love you, Daniel,
there
but-
was a video that I saw post-race where Daniel was explaining that there was some sort of an issue with the car. I don't think it was 100% just his like pure talent that got him losing positions, or lack of talent. I don't agree with that, but I'm just saying. But I think there was a problem with the car, so it wasn't. I'm not going to put all blame on him for having a bad race.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's sad to say though, because he, like, I don't want to say it, but he genuinely looked like an average driver, when we know, like, he is, well, he was at one point, like everyone was saying, he's one of the best drivers never to win a championship, because of like the races he would win, but then he never had the car over a season to win a championship. And now when you watch it, it's just like, it's all Lando Norris.
Yeah.
And like even I think there was an interview the other day where what's his name again? The Zach Brown. Zach Brown even said, Lando has the edge on Daniel at the moment. It's kind of even like showing.
It's not an edge, it's a landslide almost.
Yeah, it's true. It's like Lando is the number one at the moment, and Daniel looks like the number two driver, and it's just sad to see, really.
Yeah, and looking at his performance, I don't know if another team would want him.
It's true. Maybe because of experience, that's the only reason I'd say. But when you got people like Oscar Piastri coming like a free agent, pretty much, and Daniel Ricciardo, I think they would go for Oscar Piastri at the moment because he's the younger guy and he's got like the talent and form at the moment. So scary.
Yeah. Who were your guys' number one on Fraud Watch?
I was thinking you were gonna say Sainz.
Okay, Sainz is my number two. He's my second on Fraud Watch.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously home race. Everyone had expectations, and expectations are never nice. But just this. Okay, so the start, not great. The spin off into the gravel, not great, and then the lack of being able to make up positions back. He did at the end, and that was really fun to watch. Was it against Hamilton?
Yeah, that's when Hamilton was a DNF risk. He was slow already.
But yeah, overall not the best race. I don't like judging people based off of one race, but it seems like me and Luke, we were saying earlier, Luke, we were saying earlier, what am I on about? That even though I've lost my train of thought now, that's fantastic. We were saying that it's crazy how Charles and Carlos are in the same car, but Charles is just way ahead of him. Every single qualifying is better. We thought it would be, maybe 60-40, one is better than the other, but no, he's being absolutely
getting smashed,
thrashed by Charles.
And we can say that at Red Bull as well. It's even with the whole grid, it's always Verstappen and Charles first and second, and then the rest, the next 8 drivers could be in any order. It's crazy how good those two are to be at the top every single week.
There's a difference between drivers when they can like smell that they have a championship or race winning car. You see last year when Hamilton and Verstappen knew they had the championship winning car, they would easily, you could put like 100,000 million trillion pounds down that there would be 1 and 2 because you know that when it comes to it, they will find that extra tenth or 2 tenths over their teammate. So just like now, Leclerc, compared to Leclerc and Sainz, last year when they had a car that was like 5th and 6th in the order, like they'll be even realistically. Everyone was saying last year Sainz is so underrated, he's matched Leclerc. But now when they have a race winning car and potentially championship winning car, there's a difference for a driver to go to that next level, and that's where Leclerc can find, and which I personally don't think Sainz can get to.
Maybe not this season anyway. I think one positive to come for Carlo this week is there's no gravel traps. So I think I'll be stoked about that. And a lot of people were asking if Sainz is in your Fraud Watch, why is Verstappen not in your Fraud Watch? Because he did the exact same thing. Newsflash, Verstappen won the race. Both Verstappen looked like he controlled the car better after losing it. He didn't spin in the gravel, he just detoured through the gravel, whereas Carlos lost it straight away. And this is a pattern for Carlos. This is a one-off for Verstappen.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sainz has given me flashbacks.
Like you said.
Sorry, I was gonna say Sainz has given me flashbacks to Vettel, like when like he used to spin all the time for Ferrari, and we all know how that like ended up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Hopefully he can like bring back, because even if he's just like getting on the podium, finishing 5-10 seconds behind the club, but he's there, I'm happy with that. But because he's like miles behind, it's like come on Sainz, like we need you there, because eventually when it gets to like the crunch time in the season, Leclerc is gonna need Sainz, just how Verstappen needed Perez, how Hamilton needed Bottas back in the day. You need your other car in the team, because you need him to hopefully get a 1-2, and then Verstappen comes third, and like the points difference is bigger for Leclerc to catch Verstappen. So we need Sainz as a Ferrari fan. We need him.
And it's interesting how like last year, I would even say that Sainz had the edge on Leclerc. And now it's switched around. I don't know what would be the reason other than maybe Sainz doesn't do as well under pressure, and because last year, there was no pressure at all, there was no expectations for Ferrari, like everyone just assumed they'd be bad again. He didn't feel like he had to perform, and maybe he does better in that way. But now there is a lot of pressure and they are in a winning car. Maybe Leclerc's just on top.
Sainz does fit that underrated driver in my eyes. He fits the we didn't think you could get this out of the car. But that extra tenth or two that you were talking about, Carlo, in any sport, any elite sport, I think that barrier is mental.
Yeah, it is.
Because you can see Sainz is the hardest working driver on the grid, and I think he will outwork any of the other drivers. But that extra tenth or two is always going to be above the shoulders.
Yeah, it's mental, but it could also be maybe like natural. As in my eyes, this is just my opinion, I can already see certain drivers on the grid where if they were in a race-winning car, they could find that extra tenth, like I'm saying. Other than the main guys like Verstappen, Leclerc now, or Hamilton, like I can see Russell doing it. I can also see Lando doing it. If they were in that car and they needed to find that extra like tenth, I can see them doing it. But with Sainz, I would say like he's on the like edge, but this season he hasn't gone over the edge. He's actually gone like lower down for me. So like that's what I see with Carlos.
I guess now we'll just go into Formula 1 ICKS. We reached out through our Instagram. What are your guys' ICKS? This is what you guys come up with. This is a big one for me especially, but when they complain to an Aussie about what time the race starts. I don't care that your race is at midnight. Mine's at 6 a.m. Mine's at 4 a.m.
No, do you know what? I completely sympathise with you on that. I remember when it was the Australian Grand Prix, and everyone was saying, like, on F1 TikTok or just in general, like you're allowed to complain about the race being early, but when you talk to an Australian about it, it's like they're not gonna care at all. It's like this is what they experience on the weekly basis. So
it's for Australia and Japan every year, where if someone complains, I'd just go like this. Oh, cry me a river.
Oh yeah,
oh,
poor
it's so
you.
hard.
Yeah.
The next one is when they use the drone as a camera angle for the race.
Oh, that was terrible.
My goodness.
That was terrible.
I hated it.
It was shocking. It's because it was so shaky. If it was smooth, I think it could have been really cool.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what it could have been.
I think the idea's there.
The idea is there, but the quality was terrible. It's like the drone wasn't even good quality. I've seen YouTube videos, of a good quality drone. Like this drone wasn't good quality.
Get Casey Neistat.
He's got that's a drone. No.
Yeah, and every time I saw it, I was like, they've got a drone that can't keep up with F1 cars in like 180p. That on the windiest day of the year in Spain, and they've decided to use the drone. I saw it the first time. I was like, they better not keep this. I was like, maybe they're like, all right, we'll save this for next year. No, they just kept trying it, and then they spun the camera on a pit stop, and I was like, these guys are wild.
No, to be fair, I actually love the spinning pit stop camera angle. Like, I know it's controversial, like a lot of people hate it, but I just think it's class.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, the Aston Martin guy, Jimmy, I was like, he's holding the camera.
Yeah. And also, like, I know quality isn't everything. Like, if it's a good shot, it's a good shot. Like, for example, the helmet cam, that quality is horrendous, but it's still just really cool. Like, I understand putting a camera in a helmet or however they do it, you're not going to be like in high definition. But I don't know, I feel like with a drone you could do
4K.
It's a really cool idea though, and they should continue to like improve it.
Yeah, as long as it gets improved. I don't want to be rolling my eyes every time there's a drone. And I don't want to have to watch an overtake through a window, like, the reflection on the window. I don't want to be doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Just Latifi. Apparently Latifi's an ick. Sorry, Nicholas.
No, I can't lie, I really like Latifi. I think he's a funny guy.
So he's got a great personality. It's just that's how far as it goes. He's got a great personality.
I heard Nicholas is a big
Latifi,
fan.
man.
I'm sorry, Nicholas.
Any driver that we mention in this podcast, according to Luke, is a big fan.
Another big fan. Sorry, Christian. When they genuinely like Christian Horner, that's an ick for me personally.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Is that an ick for you
Some
guys?
people like Christian Horner because he's like, he just got that like doesn't care personality.
Yeah.
Like some people find him funny, which is understandable. But if you are like this, Christian Horner genuinely a nice person. I think maybe I agree with the ick.
I have a sneaky feeling like the whole of Holland love Christian Horner, and everyone else just doesn't like him, or like they like him to an extent, like they don't love him because I feel like the only reason the Horner's like saying all this stuff, or like last year when they're saying all of this, is because he knew like he had the whole of like the Orange Army backing him. So like, because I was seeing like Twitter videos of like them all chanting his name when they were like in Austria last year. I'm thinking Christian Horner is probably so like arrogant right now and so big-headed.
bricked
He
up.
thinks he's on top of the world. So yeah.
Yeah.
When someone uses DTS fan as an insult. Low
Oh,
blow.
absolutely.
Low
All
blow.
the time in the comments. All the time in the
Always.
comments.
Especially when I got clown 2 weeks ago. That was an ick.
Yeah.
Controversial one. When someone says Seb is in the GOAT conversation.
Ooh.
Oh. I think I disagree with that one. I feel like Seb, he is in the GOAT conversation.
He's
You just
I
icked a
feel
couple
like-
people.
Oh, sorry.
He's in the GOAT conversation when he talk about his prime. I think because of
Yeah,
how his career
exactly.
has gone, like you can't anymore. Cause like,
Yeah.
imagine if he retired after he won the 4th championship. Right now, we'd be like, he's one of the greatest of all time, confirmed. Like you can't disagree. But now, because of what's happened after, it's kind of like, yeah, maybe not. But because of his
Yeah.
prime, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like when people say stuff like, oh, not as good as they used to be, so like they're not in the like I get the point, but at the same time I feel like he had those in his prime still happened whether he retired or not,
Yeah.
because it's like you can retire after that and be in the GOAT conversation, but I feel like even though he continued his career, he still did what he did.
Yeah.
And in a way, to stick around and continue to race because it's your passion, and that's more of a reason for me anyway to call someone a GOAT.
No,
Yeah.
just think about it. If you think about it, if we were recording this podcast in 2013, we would have nothing to say because Vettel would win every single race. Like literally, he won like 13 out of 18. Every week we're like, so Vettel won. Okay, nothing new. Next week Vettel won, nothing new.
Our
Like, that's how
predictions
good
next
he
week.
was. Vettel
Predictions
win,
next week.
nothing
Vettel P1.
Like there was no like shock. So that's how
Yeah.
good he was. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah. And I think he's not only in the GOAT conversation on the track, I think he's in the GOAT conversation off the
Yeah.
track.
100%.
Absolutely.
He's not in the conversation, I think he's on top of the conversation.
He's the leader. He's the leader of the
He's the
conversation.
ringleader.
I watched him on Question Time last
Yeah.
week. It was like actually so interesting. I saw on Aston Martin like Insta stories that he was going to be on, and I was like, I've got to tune into that. It was so interesting hearing him speak. Like I don't watch Question Time a lot, but I watch it sometimes. And to have someone like him on brings a whole new audience to the show, and they were speaking out about really interesting topics. So yeah, it was really interesting seeing him on there and speaking about the environment. Like we all know that he's, big on the environment and stuff like that, but to go on a platform like that as an F1 driver is really interesting, because someone asked him a question about, but hang on, you're a Formula 1 driver but you're talking about the environment, and he was like, yeah, I hold my hands up, that's true, And it was just really refreshing for him to speak about how, you know, no one's perfect like him. He speaks about the environment, but he is an F1 driver, but at the same time you can still do your bit.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting conversation.
For
Yeah, I
real.
like him. He's that kind of guy where it's like, what are you eating? Well, do you know where it comes from? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened
Yeah.
to get that here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was even a clip of him, I think, on the train, and I'm just thinking, oh my
Yeah.
god,
Yeah.
like, he's just sitting on the train, and I'm like, what a guy, what a
It's
guy.
like, literally, I saw that and I was like, what? I
would-
don't
would-
know, I just
if I
thought...
was on that train, I would cry. Like honestly,
Freak out.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know what to do. I'd be like, make a TikTok with me. No, I
I had a dream that night after I saw that photo, and I was watching Vettel on TV at a bar, and I was like, it was like answering a real like a question real well, and I was like, this guy is
Yeah.
like an idol, like this guy speaks so well.
yeah.
And then I turned to my left, and he's having a drink at the bar. He's like, "What's up, man?" And I was like, "Oh, hey, it's Sebastian."
yeah.
First name basis.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before we move on, remember on our first ever podcast, I said Vettel's gonna get a podium this year. So guys, trust me,
Ooh.
it's still gonna happen. There's gonna be a wild race, and he's gonna get a podium this year, and I'm gonna cry.
In the
Yeah.
green ball.
Yeah. That I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
It will happen. I am also in belief.
Just imagine a podium with like Vettel, Hamilton, and Alonso.
Oh.
I feel like F1 would just be complete. Like,
Yeah.
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 what a podium.
But back to X. Someone just said Miami.
Oh,
Really, yeah.
nah, I can see
Well, the thing
why.
is, when I think of the Miami race, I think of the pre-race show. That's like my only memory.
I think
of
about the
Miami.
pre
It's
and
just
post
like,
race, not the actual race.
Yeah.
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 It's like a fever dream. And the last one, this is a two-parter. Someone said, when someone thinks Hamilton is a good driver. I
Right.
was like, wait a
Okay.
minute.
What?
Someone replied to that comment and said, my ick is when someone says any world champion is a bad driver. Fair play.
Yeah. No.
Fair play.
How can you? I mean, you can not like Hamilton, fair, but you can't say he's a bad driver. I'm sorry. It's the same as like obviously I'm more a Hamilton fan than a Verstappen fan, but I know that Verstappen's a great driver. He's one
Exactly.
of the best. It's not like, oh, I'm not really a fan of you. You're a bad driver. Like it doesn't happen.
Like no matter what they say, Hamilton is the greatest driver of our generation. Like you can't disagree.
Yeah.
He's done it. Like maybe
Yeah.
Verstappen were the next generation, but this generation we're in. Like Hamilton was the best. Like you can't
He was the man.
disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder how well he's going to do at Monaco this week.
Oh, oh.
Last year's Monaco for Hamilton wasn't so good,
Oh, it was
Mm.
if I
terrible,
remember
innit?
correctly.
Yeah, it was
It
terrible.
was
But-
Just-
it was
Yeah,
poor for
who
Mercedes as a
knows?
whole.
yeah.
Yeah, the Bottas longest pit stop in the world. And that's not even an exaggeration. Will they
It
hit the
was
world record
world
books?
record.
Got the Guinness
Um,
Book of World Records there.
Should we get straight
Mm.
into our predictions?
Yeah.
Yes. Who wants to go first? Wait, should we do all third place, all second place?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all
we'll do it
first?
like
Yeah,
that.
right.
We'll do it like that.
Alright.
Okay.
I forgot who I put third. Sorry, guys.
Alright, I'll kick things off. No, actually,
Okay.
no. I want to say my P3 last.
Really? Okay, let's all start with P1 and then go 2 and 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Kick it off, Anna.
Okay, my P1 is, despite the history, Charles Leclerc is gonna win. I think I don't believe in your bad luck and all of this rubbish. It is. I think because everyone is saying, "Oh, bad luck in Monaco,
Yeah.
bad luck at his home race," it makes it more in everyone's mind.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't even know what race it was, but the thing they were doing last week in Monaco or the week before with the vintage.
Oh, the classic
Yeah.
cars.
The classic. I don't know. I just feel like because it's in everyone's minds more, right? Obviously, yeah, it's embarrassing. But
When I saw that, I was like, why am
he's
I not
just more-
surprised?
I know, it's just more likely to go wrong when everyone's expecting it. So I'm just going to say, no, he's not going to DNF. He's not going to crash out. He's going to win, okay? This is what's going to happen.
Well,
Anyway, that's my prediction. Charles Leclerc, P1.
Carlo?
So, well, after everything Hannah said, I have to agree. I have to agree.
Yes.
So I'm
Yeah.
actually going for Charles Leclerc P1 as well. And just like Hannah said, because of what happened 2 weeks ago, he's already got rid of that bad luck. So this week,
Yeah.
pure domination. Like
Okay.
practice 1, practice 2, practice 3, top of the timesheets, qualifies on pole, dominates the race, nothing wrong,
Yeah.
perfect. Like it's gonna happen. Trust me, it's gonna happen.
So last week you were like, this is wishful thinking for Ferrari, but I don't think it's going to happen. This is the opposite. This is what's going to happen.
This is going to happen. He's going to win
Yeah.
by at least 10 seconds. And I won't spoil anything, but it's going to be a very good weekend for Ferrari.
I won't spoil anything like you already know.
Oh, no. No, as in my P2, my P2.
Oh,
I got
okay.
something.
I was like,
I
you
thought
know
you were
something
saying,
we
like,
don't?
I'm not going to spoil the race for you, but it's going to be 10 seconds ahead. Okay. I was like,
Alright.
oh, you're so confident.
Oh my god. Well,
Luke.
I'm going to tell you guys that you are both wrong. Leclerc's not going to win. There's going to be a maiden winner this week.
Oh.
The driver to get their first win in F1 this week is going to be George Russell.
Oh.
I'm not even mad about that prediction whatsoever.
It will
If
happen
we
in Monaco.
win, fine. Luke, if you win, I'm fine with that as well.
I just think,
I would,
like, Mercedes, they're bringing more upgrades. They've figured out the porpoising. George looks really, really comfortable in that Mercedes. He's going to win.
Yeah.
Whether it's from pole,
You
whether
know
it's
what?
from third,
I see that. Monaco is your first win as well. Insane.
it would be
I'd
unreal.
love Russell to win, I'll be honest. But the only thing that I'm worried about is that their car in corners isn't really as good. Like you see in Spain, they were like good in like the straight lines, but then when it came to like sector 3 where it was like twisty and turny, they
Yeah.
weren't really as good. So that's the only thing I'm worried about. But it's Mercedes, they will bring an upgrade, and
Yeah.
if they do, and Russell does get a win, oh my days. Mr.
I-
Consistent, back again.
I think they'll be good in Sector 1 and 2 again. Sector 3, they might be behind the 8 ball, but when do we ever see an overtake in Sector 3? I think if he's
true.
in front, he will not get past.
Only in Formula E we see that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
The dive up at Raskas.
Alright, Hannah, P2?
Okay, my P2 is classic. I'm just going with the normal 1-2. Verstappen P2. I think, I'm just playing it safe, to be honest.
Okay.
That's my reasoning.
Playing
I
it
think
safe
it's likely
when
that
you're
he'll
miles
be 1 or 2.
ahead in the championship.
No, see, I'm playing it safe for P2, but just wait for my P3.
Oh, okay,
and my
okay.
reasoning for my crazy P3 is because I've got a bit of leeway to mix it up a bit because
Okay.
you guys are so far behind.
That's fair. Well, my P2, once again, I didn't want to spoil it earlier, but Ferrari, straight domination. It'll be P1, P2, Carlos Sainz, second place. A lovely day for Ferrari. They'll be on their yachts later on Sunday evening celebrating because it's going to be a 1-2 at Monaco around the Principality.
Okay.
Full stop.
I'd love to see that.
Full stop.
Full stop.
No
Mic
P3. My P2 is same as Hannah's, Max Verstappen.
Okay.
Not much to say.
Any reason
he's
or just
quite good at Monaco. I don't think
quite
I don't think
good?
he'll be up to the pace of George, but
No.
I think George will just be on another level. But yeah, it's a safe bet. Let's be
Fair.
real.
Okay.
All right, Hannah's P3, the big one.
Okay, so it's funny that you were saying, Luke, earlier about Ricciardo stepping it up a notch in Monaco. I'm putting this, right, I said a second ago, the reason I'm putting Ricciardo P3 is because in our little championship, I've got like some space or like the lead to be able to put whatever I
I
want.
think you got a 17-point lead.
With flags.
If it happens, I'm going to
So-
jump out the window because what?
So I'm using my
Mystic
P3.
Planner if this happens.
I'm using my P3 as like a crazy prediction, and if this comes true, like I'm absolutely actually the goat.
You are.
So I'm saying Ricardo P3 just for fun.
Let's go,
I would love to
Daddy.
see it.
Oh my days. Nah.
Respect.
You see now, yeah, because I think I'm like 30 points behind Hannah, like I have to play safe, and I'm gonna go for max P3, just like behind the Ferrari boys.
Okay.
However, like I do have like a sneaky call. I feel like if they get the car right, once again, I think McLaren will be very quick, but I would go for Lando in P3 over Daniel, but my actual P3 is Verstappen because I have to play safe. So yeah.
Okay.
If Lando gets P3, it's 2 P3s in a row in Monaco, which is quite cool.
It's true. It's true.
All right. Well,
Luke, what are you saying?
if you think your P3 call was big,
Oh no.
Oh no.
now Hannah has a 17-point gap to me in second, and if you put together me and Carlo's points, we're on 15. Just to put it into perspective on how far ahead Hannah is. So this is a big call, but I don't think it's a stretch. It might be stretching the elastic band, but it's not going to break it.
Right.
You look shocked, Carlo. Who do you think I'm going to say?
You're gonna say Valtteri Bottas.
How did you just guess that? My P3
No
is
way.
Valtteri Bottas.
I just knew straight away.
I'm in shock.
You just
I'm in
did.
shock.
In my head, something said he's gonna pick Bottas, and it's gonna happen. Because I was thinking, wait a minute, who else can he say? And I was like, oh my god, Bottas is really good. And
Oh my goodness,
that is such a
so
good call.
funny.
That's a good call.
I'm in shock. I was meant to be the one shocking you guys. But you've just predicted that I've put Valtteri Bottas
I
on the
predicted your
podium.
prediction. So does that mean like what I predict this weekend is actually gonna happen as well? Like Leclerc
Oh,
P1?
maybe.
Oh my god. Yeah, so my P3 is Valtteri Bottas. I don't think it's
That
a
is,
stretch.
do you know,
yeah.
it's not. Seeing as his performance in Spain, excellent. His
Yeah.
performance for the whole
It's just
season,
the
to be fair,
strategy
is
that was
excellent.
wrong.
Yeah, I feel like it's only a matter of time. I feel like Bottas now is like Lando last year. Do you remember his start of the season last year was incredible?
Yeah.
He was always around like from third to like sixth. I
Yeah.
feel like he was always there, and I feel like that's Bottas now.
Yeah.
So I don't even think that's. I think that could definitely happen, and I'm excited when it does. I feel like no question Bottas will be on the podium this season if he continues like he is now.
Yeah.
Mm.
All he needs is some
And
luck.
so-
A bad pit stop from someone else. He's in
Yeah.
4th or 5th, and he gets promoted to 3rd. No pit stops left. I can't really see him getting past.
And to
Finally, it won't
support
be
you as
him
well.
that gets the bad pit stop.
I was gonna say with Bottas, well with the Alpha, when Ferrari does well, the Alpha normally does well as well. If that makes sense, because like they have like pretty much the same car. It's like the Ferrari like Spec 2 or like the Ferrari B team.
Yeah.
So if Ferrari do well, I can see Bottas doing well as well. So yeah.
It'll be interesting, and I would love to see
Yeah.
that.
Me
Did you
too.
guys have a big call?
I did not, but I can make one up right now.
This is my big call. We're going to see. So like obviously I don't wish a crash upon any driver. Yeah. But
Yeah.
we haven't seen a first corner crash, like a big one, in like a long time. Now I'm not wishing this, like I'm all for my drivers to stay safe. However,
Yeah.
I have like a bad feeling that this Sunday, turn 1, we might see at least 4 cars taken out, and they'll just retire, and then we'll have like a long safety car. So that's my one.
That's a good prediction. Heavier cars,
That's
bigger
really
cars, wider
interesting.
cars, heroics into Saint Yvonne. All it takes is one person.
Just like
Yeah.
imagine if someone at the back has a brake failure and he just has to just wipe them out like it's bowling.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I think is gonna happen. Like Hungary last year, but in Monaco.
Oh my
dear.
goodness, yeah.
And it could be a wet race start. We haven't mentioned that.
Yeah.
Sunday could be
The
wet.
weather forecast.
True.
Oh, what a race that would be. Then I would watch Monaco. Everything. Oh my days. I haven't even violated Monaco yet, but I'll wait till after. 'Cause it could be a banger.
I've just got my weather app up and it says Monaco on Sunday, 80% rain. So
I'll be doing my rain dance. Alright, Hannah, I can give you a bit of buffer time if you haven't thought of a big call.
Yeah, I have thought of one, but you go for it.
Alright. I'm going to completely disagree with your guys' predictions. I've gone so polar opposite. I think that in the back of Leclerc's mind, that there's always going to be that Monaco curse. And we see it in the AFL. Some teams never shake that curse. I'm not promoting this. However, Leclerc will DNF, but it will be due to a collision with his teammate.
Ooh.
It might not be a double DNF.
Ruins Carlos' race prediction. That
I can see that happening as well. Like something within me is saying Leclerc's behind science. He's the quicker driver. Will go for a dive bomb and just take himself out.
It could be a double DNF, and if it is, I think it's going to be a double DNF. We can clip that.
clip.
If it's not, I just think it'll be a collision with his teammate.
So,
interesting.
Hannah?
I think that could happen.
Yeah.
My bold prediction. So I was thinking along the same lines of Carlo on this, and I have this vision. Like we all said, I don't want this to happen really, but I feel like I have to say that. Like obviously not, but I feel like after turn 1, leading into turn 2, there'll be some sort of like small collision or a spin or something which blocks a ton of cars from going through. So whether that's the front 2 or like someone in the midfield, I feel like I can imagine like 10 cars just stand still, not being able to go through because there's some sort of car in the way. That's my prediction.
Yeah. Like the AI on F1.
So,
and they just kind of stop.
Yeah. And it's going to take ages for them to clear the debris or to move the car, and so these cars are just going to be standstill for ages. I have that. I don't know. Imagine that would just be awful. The cold tyres.
As long as no one's hurt, that would be so funny. And if it's wet as well,
I know.
the water dripping into the cockpit, the tyres cooling down, it would be awful.
Yeah, literally.
It would be awful. I could just imagine a car in front of a Ferrari spinning, or a Ferrari spinning, and their side pods just becoming baths. Just swimming pools.
Yeah, that's so good.
Well, those predictions were interesting, and I'm really keen to see how they go through the weekend. And if I'm honest, Monaco, I'll let you dig into Monaco, Carlo. But Sunday arguably is the most boring day of the year. But the day before that is arguably the most exciting day of the year. And we could see a dry qualifying, exciting, and a wet race, exciting.
Oh, here's a question. Would you rather dry qualifying in a wet race or a wet qualifying in a dry race?
Dry quali in a wet race.
Yeah, a wet race.
Really?
Because even when it's a dry quali, it's always a banger because you see cars flying to its maximum. So whether it's dry or wet, I don't mind.
Although with a wet quali, the grid will be really, well, I would like to think it would be really mixed up. But I think I agree with you guys.
Yeah, my favourite part about a Monaco qualifying is the track evolution. So you only really get to see that on a dry track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna wait. I'm not going to attack Monaco this weekend because if it is raining, then there is very good potential in Monaco, because now we'll see like a good Monaco. Because whenever Monaco rains, it's a banger. It's a banger because imagine racing, like it's like driving outside when it's raining, because the barriers so close to each other. Drivers there's always drivers behind you that will be quicker than the ones at the front because they'll have like more skill. Like if Vettel's starting 14th, he's good in the wet. He'll try and be like 6th or 7th. So
If it's
the
a wet
strategy
race,
and everything.
George Russell might be able to take the lead and hold it.
Russell, Norris, Hamilton, Verstappen, Leclerc, 5 of the best wet weather like drivers, and they're all at the front of the field. So it's gonna be incredible. So,
Yeah.
I'm kind of gonna side with you, Carlo. I've called the last 2 races, being Miami and Spain, boring, and I've been slapped in the face with an exciting race. So this Sunday, I'm going into this race with an open mind, and I'm just gonna think maybe bigger cars, wider cars, heavier cars are gonna make for a better spectacle. Add the
Same.
rain into it, it could be a banger.
But just to beware,
be.
if it is boring, next week episodes, you're just gonna hear me ranting for 30 minutes. So guys, just be prepared.
Okay.
Carlo unhinged.
Be
I look
prepared.
forward to that.
Total Wolf in Saudi Arabia. Their headset will get flown. Like, be prepared.
Well, all of these predictions are incredible, and I can't wait to see whether they actually pan out, who's going to win, what's going to happen. Thank you everyone at home for listening. Thank you to F1 Carlo and F1 Luke Sam for joining me on this episode. We really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to check out our Patreon and our TikTok, and you can watch the full podcast on YouTube. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.